Hello and welcome to day 2 of Faith with a Twist. My name is Dawnine and I am here to lead you through day number 2 of our 30-day journey. And we are still practicing the ahimsa philosophy, and this is nonviolence. So this is day 2 of nonviolence. And be sure before you start that you have a water bottle. If you want to use a strap, this is one of my husband's belts. You can also use, if you have a mat that has a strap to help you roll it up and carry it, you can use this as well. We'll be doing some different stretches today and adding to the postures that we did yesterday. So things are going to be a little bit, not necessarily more difficult, but maybe a little bit more challenging. And the practice will be a little bit longer today. And I plan to do that every day during the 30 days to add to what we've done in the days before and to make it a little bit more challenging. For those of you that are just beginning a yoga practice and you want to develop your skills to be able to have your own practice at home, or when the studios open back up to attend a class. And I had someone ask me if this is a practice that I've done before, and I have not. So I'm experiencing each of these days with you fresh. I don't read the meditation or the prayer beforehand because I want to experience it along with you each day. So let's go ahead and begin, and we're going to start with a prayer. So sit comfortably and assume whatever posture you would like. During the prayer, you can bring your hands to heart center. You can rest your palms open on your knees. If you want to begin laying down on your back in corpse pose or just in a comfortable position, any way that you want to start this prayer is fine. And then we'll do our reflection, and then we'll begin our practice. So let's pray. Most holy God, the source of all good desires, all right judgments, and all just works, give to us, your servants, that peace which the world cannot give, so that our minds may be fixed on the doing of your will, and that we, being delivered from the fear of all enemies, may live in peace and quietness through the mercies of Christ Jesus our Savior. Amen. How fitting for what's happening in our world today. And now let's reflect. Peacefulness or nonviolence encompasses much of Jesus' message to his followers. Nonviolence is at the foundation of Jesus' greatest commandment. Love one another, just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. In other words, living responsible moral lives, living as good citizens, requires that we do not hurt one another. Jesus did not simply talk about peace, he lived it. So often when Jesus was approached by people who wanted him to be a militaristic Messiah, one who came to liberate his people with a mighty sword, he gave them an answer of an all-encompassing love rather than a call to violence. He pointed to God's desire to save and free all people through him rather than a desire for gold or riches or power that would come at the price of leaving others suffering or in want. For Jesus, the only reign he would usher in was one of peace, free from the violence we so readily inflict on one another. By commanding us to love one another, Jesus is telling us that we are to take up his call to nonviolence and to spread peace and love in his name. One of the ways that we can begin to spread this kind of love is through prayer and peaceful actions such as yoga. As we move through our practice today, spend some time thinking about the peace and the love that you can spread in all ways. For example, on your yoga mat, you might practice this intention by approaching a posture you hate with gratitude for the way your body will change through it. Spend a few extra moments in this posture, breathing love into the frustration that you have with it. Or as you find yourself having violent thoughts, actions, or words off the mat, remember that if your first lens is one of love, you will be less inclined to choose violence as a response action. Take the same calming breaths before reacting to invite love and peace into your heart at that moment. So let's talk about our breathing. You'll hear me during practice tell you to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, making sure that we're taking nice, full, deep breaths and exhaling completely. So let's talk a little bit about our breaths in preparation for practice. The opening breaths of your practice are very important and very powerful. Close your eyes. Tune out all outside distractions. Just breathe. Try not to change your breathing right now, just simply observe it. Notice if you are inhaling or exhaling. What does each breath feel like? Can you feel the air as your breath flows in? Can you feel the warmth of your breath as you exhale? Have you noticed that your mind is slowing down and your emotions have smoothed out? All as a result of simply focusing on your breath? This is just a taste of the power of mindful breathing. That concludes the meditation for day 2. And now let's begin our practice. So wherever you are now, let's come to a comfortable seated position. Relax your hips, let your shoulders drop down. Your hands can be in your lap. They can be resting palm facing up on your knees. And now drop your head down, chin to chest. Feel the tension releasing in your neck. Breathing in deeply through the nose and out through the mouth. In your next exhale, sweep your arms up. And exhale, bring the hands to heart center. Now gently turn your head all the way to the left. And now gently turn your head all the way to the right. And bring your head back to center. Remember, when I'm facing you, I am your mirror image. So when I'm telling you to go to the left, it's actually going to look to you like I'm going to the right, if I've got my video on the correct way. Let's drop our chin to the chest one more time. And bring your head back up to center. Now let's do a couple of quick stretches for our arms and for our legs before we stand up and do our sun salutation. So bring your left arm across, grab it by the elbow, let your shoulder drop down, pull it close to your body. Still being mindful of your breathing, in through the nose, out through the mouth, nice deep breaths. Now let's bring that elbow up. Let that hand drop down behind your head, kind of in between your shoulder blades. Give that elbow a tug. Feel the tricep and the back of the arm release. One more deep breath. And let's relax and bring the other arm across. Grab it by the elbow, drop the shoulder down, pull in towards the chest, feel the shoulder open. While we're doing these stretches, try to focus on the sounds that you hear around you. I have a fan going to blow some air. I have my sprinkler going in my garden. I can hear doves calling to each other. Every now and then I hear a little bit of traffic noise. Now let's bring that elbow up, let the hand drop between the shoulder blades, give it a tug. One more deep breath. And exhale, relax the arms, and let's bring the arms all the way around. Give yourself a hug. See if your fingers can feel your shoulder blades. Let your shoulders drop down. One more deep breath. And relax. Now I'm going to turn long ways on my mat. You can stay facing forward if you want to. We're going to do some stretches for our legs and those seated twists that we did yesterday. So if you want to have your strap handy for this, if you don't feel comfortable bending all the way over, if you want to use your strap, you just put it around the ball of your foot. And then you can pull gently as you lean forward. So let's take a nice deep breath. Raise the arms. And exhale, hinging at the waist. Try to keep your back straight. Just down as far as what feels comfortable. Find that point of tension behind the knees. That's where we'll stop for now. Still taking nice deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Don't hold your breath. Let's take another deep breath. Try to deepen the stretch if you can. And exhale back up nice and tall. Now let's bring the right foot over the left knee. Place it flat on the outside of that knee on the mat. Sitting up nice and tall. Let's take a deep breath. Raise the arms. And as you exhale, you're going to turn to your right and place your elbow on the outside of that knee. Your back knee is going to come behind you for support. And we're going to raise that hand. Use that elbow to twist around. Try to square your shoulders to the wall behind you or whatever object is behind you. And feel that deep stretch in the lower back and in the hip. One more deep breath. And as we exhale, we unwind, extend that leg, bring the other leg over, foot flat on the outside of the opposite knee. Deep breath, sitting up nice and tall. And exhale, back arm comes down for support, front arm, elbow to the outside of the knee. Raise the palm. One more deep breath. And exhale, unwinding back to the start. Now let's come up onto our hands and knees. We're going to do a few more stretches for the torso and for the lower back. We're going to do a few exercises that are also good if you experience low back pain, if you have menstrual cramps, if you have any kind of female reproductive issues going on. These are exercises that will help with that. If you have bladder issues when you laugh or cough, it's called stress incontinence. These exercises help. So I want you to think about if you do a Kegel exercise where you squeeze the muscles of the pelvic floor as we move through cat and cow. Now for cat, we're going to be on our hands and knees. This is tabletop. Our hands are underneath our shoulders. Our knees are right under our hips. You don't want to be off kilter like this or too far forward. So make sure that you're just like a table. Back is nice and flat like a tabletop. We're going to inhale, and as we inhale, squeeze the muscles of the pelvic floor and arch your back. Bring your chin to your chest, tuck the tailbone, just like a cat. And as you exhale, we'll do just the opposite. Push the belly to the floor, lift the tailbone, lift the chin. And let's do that a few more times. Inhale, up into cat, squeeze the muscles of the pelvic floor. And exhale into cow, push the belly down, lift the tailbone, lift the chin. And once more, inhale up into cat. And exhale down into cow. Now let's come back to tabletop. I'm going to show you a pose now that we did not cover yesterday. It's called child's pose. This is a pose that you can come to anytime during practice when you feel like you need a break. If you're getting lightheaded, if you just feel a little bit winded or exhausted from a particular pose, or you just need to just take a minute. We're going to drop our hips all the way down to our feet. Lay your head down on your mat. Extend your arms outward. Now you can also, in child's pose, you can bring your hands behind you. You can rest them on your hips, or you can rest your arms on the mat next to your legs. And just breathe through this pose. One deep breath. And exhale, make your way back into tabletop. And one more stretch for the lower back. This is called thread the needle. I'm going to use my left hand so that you can see what I'm doing when I face away from you. So I'm going to come from tabletop, readjust, make sure hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. And I'm going to lift my left arm and twist my body, looking up at my hand. Then I'm going to bring that arm all the way under my belly. This is threading the needle, and lay the shoulder down. Lay that arm down, and then extend your other arm. Let your head relax, and let your body relax. Now you might find that your feet have crossed over each other, or your ankles have crossed, and that's okay. One more deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring your right hand under your shoulder, and then push back into tabletop. Now adjust the hands and knees if you need to. And then we'll do it on the other side. Inhaling, twisting up. Exhale, bring the arm through, lay the shoulder down. Extend the other arm and relax. One more deep breath. And exhale, bring that hand in, push back at the tabletop. And now let's make our way into a standing position. So let's bring our toes in connection with the mat. So bring your toes under. We're going to lift our hips and knees, and then walk your hands backwards towards your feet and slowly stand up. Now check yourself right now. See if you're feeling lightheaded, dizzy, nauseated. Where I am right now, it's 80-something degrees and it's about 90% humidity, so I'm already starting to sweat. Okay, so let's come to mountain pose. So our feet are a hip distance apart, shoulders are back, chin is lifted. We're at the end of our mat, and it doesn't matter which end you start from. Let's take a deep breath, raise the arms. And exhale down into forward fold. Let your arms hang loose, let your head, neck, and shoulders relax. Next inhale, lift halfway up, looking out, as if you're looking out over the horizon. And exhale back down. One more deep inhale here. And exhale, walk your hands out into plank. Make sure that your hands are right under your shoulders as you drop your hips down, up on the toes. Now this may be one of those poses like we talked about in the meditation that you hate. So let's think about this pose with peace and love, honoring what it can do for our body. If you need to drop to your knees during plank, you can. Hold it for a few more breaths and then we'll crocodile down. One more breath in. And exhale, crocodile down. Arms are close to the body. Relax the feet. Body all the way down, forehead to the mat. Exhale fully. Inhale, push up into cobra. Listen to your lower back here. If you need to lower your elbows just slightly. Let's bring our toes in connection with the mat. Take a deep breath. Exhale, lift the hips, lift the knees. Drop the heels down, bring the head in between the elbows for down dog. One more deep breath. And let's exhale, push back into plank. One more deep breath. Exhale back into down dog, and let's walk our hands backwards towards our feet slowly. Coming into forward fold one more time. Make sure that your arms are loose, that your head and shoulders, neck are relaxed. One more deep breath. And exhale slowly, rising. The head is the last thing to come up. Take a deep breath in, raise the arms. And exhale, release. Now once again, check through your body. Make sure you're not feeling dizzy, nauseated, lightheaded. Grab a sip of water if you need to. And let's come to the center of our mat. We're going to come into five-pointed star. Feet are wide. Toes are facing forward. Arms are extended. Palms are facing down. We're going to go through a triangle series like we did on day one, and we're going to add a few things to it that make it a little more challenging. So we'll start with our forward triangle. Turn your right toes out. Left toes are still facing forward. Left hip comes out and we tip over in the forward triangle. Trying to get the fingertips down onto the mat right in front of the arch, but you can stop and grab onto the shin or the ankle. Just don't grab your knee. That puts too much pressure on the knee. And if you can, turn and look at your uplifted palm. One more deep breath. And exhale, slowly rise back to 5-pointed star. Now, leaving our feet as they are, we're going to do reverse triangle. So this time your left hand is going to come around and the body's going to twist to the back. And we're going to place these fingertips down on the outside of the foot, right by the little toe. And again, you can grab onto the ankle or the shin if you need to. The palm of your uplifted hand is facing the same direction as your face. Look up at that uplifted hand if you can. One more deep breath. And exhale slowly back to 5-pointed star. Come up slowly so you don't get lightheaded. Now let's drop our arms. Feet are still in the same position. The right toes are out, the left toes are facing forward. We're going to do side angle. So we're going to bring this knee forward. And you don't want the knee to go over the toes, okay? So make sure that your knee is right over your ankle and no further. And then this elbow is going to come down to that knee. And then this arm is going to extend. And we're going to drop this hip down so that we're in a nice long line from the fingertips all the way to the heel. So watch this knee right here. If this knee starts going over the toes, then take that back foot and scoot it out just a little bit so you can get that hip down nice and low. So this is side angle. Now the next few days we'll add to side angle to make it a little more challenging. So this is just the basic side angle pose. Let's take one more deep breath. And as you exhale slowly, come back to 5-pointed star. Take that bend out of the knee. Now let's reverse our feet. Right toes face forward, left toes face out. Right hip extends, and we tip over to forward triangle. Now some of these poses, as we do them on opposite sides of the body, one side might feel really comfortable and easy, and the other side might feel just completely not willing to go into the pose. And that's very, very typical. One more deep breath. And exhale slowly back to 5-pointed star. Now, reverse triangle on this side. The hip is still extended. This time, the right hand is going to come around. The body twists to the back. The fingertips come to the outside of the foot at the pinky toe. Our palm and our face are both facing behind us. One more deep breath. And exhale slowly back to 5-pointed star. Now let's drop our arms on this side, put the bend in this knee now. Now check your foot position again because you want to make sure that knee doesn't go over the toes. This elbow comes down onto that knee. I can tell I already need to adjust my feet, so I'm going to pull that back foot out a little bit. Arm extends, hips drop down, and we're in side angle. One more deep breath. And let's exhale slowly back to 5-pointed star. Now let's face both of the toes forward. Let's drop the arms down. Bring your feet in a little bit if you feel like you're a little bit too wide. Let's inhale, raise the arms. And exhale into wide leg forward fold. Just come down as far as what feels comfortable. If you don't make it all the way down to the mat with your hands or your head, that is absolutely fine. Let your head, neck, and shoulders relax. Slight bend in the knees is appropriate here as well. One more deep breath. And exhale slowly, back up. Now let's transition into our warrior series. So let's start again with the right toes out, left toes are facing forward. Let's get that nice bend in the knee. Checking your knee position, make sure that it stays over the ankle. Adjust your feet if you need to. And let's make sure that our heel in the front is aligned with our arch in the back. That helps with your balance in warrior. We're going to start with arms raised, palms facing inward, looking up in between your uplifted hands. And exhale into warrior two, squaring the hips and shoulders forward. Palms are facing down, and we turn our gaze over our front arm. And let's find peaceful warrior. Back arm drifts down to the back of the knee. Front arm drifts up. Palm turns towards the face, looking up. And let's come back into warrior two. Make sure shoulders and hips are square to the front. Now, just for fun and to check your balance, slowly turn your gaze around in the opposite direction to the arm that's facing behind you. So feel your body shift to maintain balance. And slowly bring your gaze back to the front. So that shift again. One more deep breath. And exhale, drop the arms. Let's come back to five-pointed star. Turn both feet facing forward. And now we'll do our warrior series on the other side. So turn the other toes out. Back toes remain facing forward. Check the alignment, front heel with back arch. Place that bend in the knee. Checking to make sure knee is over ankle. Squaring the hips and shoulders facing the forward knee, and arms are raised. Looking up. And exhale into warrior two. Squaring hips and shoulders forward. Gaze over the front arm. And let's find peaceful warrior on this side. Back to warrior two. Checking hips and shoulders. And let's turn our gaze on this side as well. Slowly bring the gaze over the back arm. And now let's bring the gaze back to the front arm slowly. Feel your body shift to maintain balance. One more deep breath. And relax the arms. And let's bring the toes forward once more. Deep breath. And one more wide leg forward fold. More deep breath. And as you exhale, place your hands on the mat, and I want you to gently work your way down to a seated position. Whatever feels comfortable. If it feels good for you to come into what we call sumo squat and then sit all the way down, just listen to your knees and hips. Listen to your body. Remember, yoga is not a competition. You are working with yourself, not against yourself. And if you're in a studio class setting, you're certainly not working against anyone else or comparing yourself to anyone else. So come to a comfortable seated position, just folding the legs. If you want to try lotus position like we did on day one, half lotus is with one foot on the thigh, and then full lotus is with both. Now listen to your knees and hips. You may not be ready to do this yet, but I promise in a few days you will feel limber enough to try this. And let's just focus on our breathing again. Your hands can be rested gently in your lap. They can be on your knees with your palms facing forward. Or facing up rather. You can close your eyes if you'd like to. Let's just focus on our breathing. And I'd like to go back and remind us of what we meditated on at the beginning of practice to end the day. As you find yourself having violent thoughts, actions, or words, remember that if your first lens is one of love, you will be less inclined to choose violence as a responsive action. Take the same calming breaths before reacting to invite love and peace into your heart at that moment. So as we conclude today's practice, I want you to think of ways that you can spread peace, either in your own thought life, inside your home, inside the workplace, for those of you who are going to work now and not working from home. In the places that we go, there's just a lot of unrest right now, many differing opinions that cause people to react. Just think about how you can spread peace today. And this concludes day 2 of Faith with a Twist. Thank you for joining me. And until we meet again, the Divine Light in me honors the Divine Light in you. Namaste.